أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وإيمانا وفقها في الدين. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وتجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا رب العالمين. So this is the last lesson of Matan al-Ashmariya and Fiqh of Maliki, and we will be looking at the disliked act of fasting, and also look at Tarawih prayer, and also I'tikaf. We also look at what I'tikaf and also Zakat Al-Fitr. So we'll be looking at these four issues inshallah in this lesson. Okay. قال المؤلف رحمه الله: ويكره ذوق الملح للصائم، فإن فعل ذلك ومجه ولم يصل إلى حلقه منه شيء فلا شيء عليه. So he said, in the previous lesson we mentioned some of the disliked of fasting, and then some of it we mentioned that Imam Malik disliked fasting of 6 days of Shawwal, right? And we explained that at that time there are several reasons that he disliked that, but now we don't have such a problem here, currently, because no one would think that 6 days is part of Ramadan. So that it's part of it's part of Sunnah, and it's encouraged for us to fast 6 days after Ramadan. That is the fasting of Shawwal. And also he disliked specifying the fasting 3 days in every month, right? He disliked the specification for us to specify it on 13th, 14th, 15th, right? He preferred that you can fast 1 day in the first 10 days, or 1 day and then 1 day also in the second 10 days, and also the third day in the last 10 days. Or you can fast in any other day, but not to specify it, or not to fast on the 13th, 14th, 15th. So these are some of the dislike that we spoke about. And also he continued to say, وَيُكْرَهُ ذَوْقُ الْمِلْحِ لِلصَّائِمِ. So a person who is fasting, when, let's say, the person is cooking, a fasting person, before iftar he would like to prepare something, or the women also, when they are cooking, it's disliked for them to taste, right? To taste to know the taste of how the food will taste. So it's also disliked, right? It is not haram, but it's what it dislikes. So and he said, فَإِنْ فَعَلَ ذَلِكَ وَمَجَّهُ وَلَمْ يَصِلْ إِلَى حَلْقِهِ مِنْهُ شَيْءٍ فَلَا شَيْءَ عَلَيْهِ. So it is disliked. But if a person, let's say, is obliged to do that, she wants to really know how the food will taste, so that she do what she has to do, So with that she can still taste it, but she should make sure that it does not reach the throat. You get it? Immediately it reaches the throat, or she swallow some part of it, then the fasting becomes what? The fasting becomes null, right? The fasting becomes what? Exactly, yeah. So here would such person make kafara, expiate for swallowing what he or she has tasted? Is the question clear? Yeah. Let's say that person is cooking, okay? and want to taste, to see or to know the how the food tastes, whether the salt is on point or the spices is on point, and then the person swallowed it.
Yes, it's intentional. So
no, of course you have to know whether it's intentional or mistakenly.
no.
So if it is intentionally, then there will be what? There will be kafara, right? But if it is mistakenly, if the person swallowed it, or the taste, or what the person is tasting reached the truth mistakenly, then there's no what? There's no kafara, but there's qada, right? Qada meaning the person will make up that day, but there's no what? Expiation, there's no kafara. I hope it's clear. I hope you remember what we said about kafara, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he continued to say, and then part of the disliked act is, he said, وَمُقَدِّمَةُ الْجِمَاعِ مَكْرُوهَةٌ لِلصَّائِمِ كَالْقُبْلَةِ وَالْجَسِّهِ وَالنَّظَرِ الْمُسْتَدَامِ. So he said, also things or activities or things that leads to what? Sexual intercourse is also what? Disliked, right? Like kissing, like fondling, like foreplay. All this is what? It's disliked, right? So, so the question is, can someone in the state of fast and someone fasting kiss his wife? Yeah, he can, or she can kiss her husband. There's no problem. But yeah, they can kiss, right? But if because when it comes to our sexual life, everyone knows himself. There are people, when they kiss, they go further, and then it ends in something else. You get it? So everyone knows himself. So if you know that when you kiss, it will lead to that, what do? You what? You stay away, right? You refrain from it. But if you are what? You mean you can kiss and then still be okay, then there's no problem. Because Aisha radiallahu anha, in an authentic hadith, she said, كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقبل ويباشر وهو صائم ولكنه كان أملككم لإربه. She said that the Prophet ﷺ used to kiss her and then also romance her. That's the Prophet. But she said, but he is what? He controls his sexual desire more than what? More than you. Right? So she is telling us, yes, the Prophet has what? Total control over his what? Sexual desire. Right? He has total control over his sexual desire. So he can what? He can do that. Still kiss and romance and still not what? Proceed to what? To the act. You get it? So she is saying that, of course, if you can't control yourself, then what do? You stay away from it. So Imam Malik, from his own wisdom, he said, he disliked, he said, a youthful person should what? A youth should stay away completely from what? From that. A youth should not even try to kiss his wife. Why? Because as for youth at that age, their sexual urge is what? Is really high. You get it? But he permits an old person to do that, because an old person, what? He has control over his what? His sexual desire. You get it? So he disliked that, and then it's part of what the dislike act to what? To kiss or fondle or romance or engage in what? In a foreplay. It is makruh, right? So a person, if it may seem it's a makruh, meaning a person can do it, but it's what? Disliked, because it could lead to what? To what we the sexual sexual intercourse. You get it? It will lead to what? Intimacy, which will consequently require kafara and then qada. You get it? So that's this also what? Part of what? The disliked act of what? Fasting. So he said, he said, وَالْمُلَعَبَةِ إِنْ عُلِمَ السَّلَامَةُ مِنْ ذَلِكَ. If the person kissing or fondling or engaging in the foreplay knows that yes, nothing will surely happen, right? He has full control over his sexual urge, meaning he can engage in that and still not be intimate with his wife. Then the person can do that. Then here there's no dislike. Do you get it? Meaning if the person is sure that yes, he can control himself after kissing, after the foreplay, after the fondling, the person can control himself. Then the person can go ahead to kiss, right? But if the person knows that no, this could lead to what? Intimacy, then it is what? It is haram. He said, وَإِلَّا حَرُمَ عَلَيْهِ ذَلِكَ. If you know that, fondling or kissing or engaging in the foreplay will lead to intimacy, then what do? It is haram. You should not even start. You understand? You don't see that, yes, the Prophet used to kiss and then romance and engage in the foreplay, so you also imitate. No, you are not like the Prophet. You don't have total control over your sexual desire. So it is totally haram. So if you can control, then it is makruh. It is disliked. But if you can't, then it is it's haram. You get it? Okay, so and then he said, وَإِلَّا حَرُمَ ذَلِكَ لَكِنَّهُ إِنْ أَمْذَى مِنْ ذَلِكَ فَعَلَيْهِ الْقَضَاءُ فَقَطْ. So he said when he discharged a madhi, then there will be qada. Now let's say that someone said, okay, someone thinks that he can control himself after kissing and fondling and the foreplay. He can control himself. So the person engaged in that and then discharged a madhi. Do you remember we discussed about these 3 discharges during when we were discussing purification? We discussed about 3 different discharges. We mentioned madhi, and mani, and wadi. So madhi. Let's start with wadi. Wadi, it's a kind of a discharge, whitish discharge that sometimes appear or comes after urine. After urination, it follows. Like for those who have a very high sexual urge, you understand. For them, they see that frequently. Immediately after urinating, you see this discharge, right? So this discharge, it's called wadi, right? It's whitish and a bit thick, but not as sperm. This is wadi, okay? And then we also have madhi. Madhi is also a discharge, very white, but not as thick as wadi. So this madhi, it's usually come out during foreplay, when kissing and then fondling and then engaging in foreplay. This discharge you see this discharge. So this is called madhi. Okay, and the sperm itself is It's money. Okay, so the author is saying when you engage in the kissing and foreplay, when you are fasting and engage in foreplay, fondling and then kissing and all this, and then you see madhi, then your fasting is is void. There is you have to make up, you have to do qada, but there's no kafara. You get it? So when you engage in in the foreplay, in the romance, and then also in the kissing and fondling, and then you see this madhi, then there's there's qada, but there's no kafara. Do you get it? There's no kafara. But immediately you continue and then you discharge, you see sperm, you see money, then there's There's kafara. There's qada, and then Kafara. Do you get this thing? Is it clear?
No.
Is it clear? Okay. So now, here he's talking about sexual intercourse. What of someone who, let's say, someone addicted to porn and is watching this pornographic and then see this discharge? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Let's say the person, what there's qada on the person. If a person has seen that madhi, right, that discharge, that precedes sperm, then the person what? The person has to do what? Qada. That's the makeup. You get it? The person will make up that day. But if the person continue watching and then ejaculates, then what happened? Then the person what? There's qada and kafara. Do you get it? Is it clear? So he said, وَإِنْ أَمْنَى فَعَلَيْهِ الْقَضَاء فَإِنْ إِنْ أَمْذَى مِنْ ذَلِكَ فَعَلَيْهِ الْقَضَاء فَقَطْ وَإِنْ أَمْنَى فَعَلَيْهِ الْقَضَاء وَالْكَفَّارَ. Right? So when if the person engage in all these things, the kissing, the foreplay, and then the fondling, and then sees what? The madhi, right? That discharge that precedes ejaculation, then there's what? The person has to make up, no kafara. But immediately the person ejaculates, sees sperm, then there's what? There's qada and kafara. Is it clear? Yeah. Okay. And then he said, وَقِيَامُ رَمَضَانِ مُسْتَحَبٌ مُرَغَّبٌ فِيهِ. And also, uprightness in Ramadan, it's what? It's recommended, right? Uprightness in Ramadan is what is recommended. What does it mean, uprightness? Meaning, for a person to observe Taraweeh. This, if Qiyam Ramadan. Qiyam Ramadan is what? Observing of the Taraweeh. Right? So you pray the Taraweeh very well. They start with you and then end with you. When you do that from the beginning to the end, for the sake of Allah. You do that for the sake of Allah and also hoping to what? To gain reward of that uprightness and also that prayer that you observe throughout Ramadan. You hope to gain the reward from Allah. So when you pray with this intention, you are not praying because of people. You are not praying because your friends are going, because your friends are also praying. No, you are praying because of Allah, and you are praying with the hope that Allah will reward you for that prayer. When you do that, the Prophet said, غُفِرَ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِهِ. So he said, then here he said, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من قام رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. So he said, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever observes or whoever is righteous, upright during Ramadan from the beginning to the end, and the person has done that with full iman, meaning with full sincerity, and then also hoping to gain a reward from Allah. Allah will forgive the person his past sins. Right? Your past sins will be forgiven. You get it? So this praying at Taraweeh is very important. Right? We should not neglect it. Okay, so with the Taraweeh we've already discussed about the number of rak'ats that one can pray. Right? You can, if you know you can pray alone, you can pray alone and then prolong the recitation, then it's better you do that. But if you know that along the way you'll feel lazy, then it's better you join the congregation. You get it? And when you are praying, you have to go to the mosque where they pray very well, not the mosque that they finish very fast.
Express.
Yeah, the express one, right? Yeah. So you go to the mosque that they recite with tajweed, they recite very well, they do the rukun very well, they do the sujood very well, then you gain the full reward, right? You gain the full reward. You don't go where they finish they finish fast. Okay, so that's it. And then we said that with the Taraweeh you can pray 8 rak'at. You can pray 8 rak'at without Shafi and Witr. So with the Witr, with the Shafi and the Witr will be 13, right? And then you can also pray 10 rak'at, the tarawih, and then with the witr will also be what? No, with the witr, this 8 will be what? 11, and then this 10 will be what? The tarawih 10, and then shafi and witr will be 13. Alright, so you can pray 11 rak'at, this you can pray 13, you can also pray 20 with the shafi and witr will be what? 23, right? And then if you want to follow the madhab of people of Medina, you can also pray what? 36 rak'at, right? So with the shafi and witr will be what? 39, right? Yes, 39 rak'at, right? So all, when you pray like this, any of these rak'at, inshallah you'll be rewarded, and you'll be you'll be considered among those who have observed what? Tarawih. Is it clear? Okay. And then he said, وَيُسْتَحَبُّ الْإِنْفِرَادُ بِهِ إِلَّمْ تُعَطِّلِ الْمَسْجِدِ وَاللَّهُ أَعْلَمُ. He said also, it is also recommended you pray alone, right? It's recommended you pray with the tarawih alone, if that will not affect the mosque. Meaning, let's say that when everyone pray at home, this is not good. At least there should be people who go to the mosque and pray. You understand? But if everyone decide to pray at home, then the mosque will be empty, which is not good. But if some go and pray at the mosque and some also pray at home, it's all good. But it's what they recommend. He recommend that you pray at home, right? Or you pray alone, right? Because with that, there's more sincerity in what the ikhlas will be higher, and there will not be any showing of any riyah because you are alone. You understand? But also the disadvantage of that is you can easily get tired or feel lazy. You understand? Because you are alone. But if you have the congregation, of course, when you feel tired and you see an old man seriously standing, in front of you, you'll be encouraged to continue. You get it? Alright, so now, the author did not mention, because of course this is an introductory fiqh, so he did not mention everything. But let's look at i'tikaf, then we look at Zakat Al-Fitr. Okay. Now, i'tikaf is what? Seclusion. I'tikaf, the Prophet ﷺ used to observe i'tikaf in the last 10 days of Ramadan, right? So when the Prophet ﷺ was informed about Laylatul Qadr, right? Allah informed him that there's a night, if you are lucky to observe it, you'll be rewarded an act of worship you'll be rewarded as if you've worshipped Allah for 83 years and some months, right? So the Prophet ﷺ, do you know what he did? He observed i'tikaf, right? Meaning he went to the mosque, right? And then he went to stay in the mosque in the first 10 days of Ramadan, searching for the Laylatul Qadr. At that time, they did not inform him that that's the night, the Laylatul Qadr is in the last 10 days. So he didn't know in which, but he know that Laylatul Qadr is in Ramadan. So he started he went to i'tikaf, he observed i'tikaf in the first 10 nights of in the first 10 days of Ramadan. He observed i'tikaf and he did not find that night, and then he was told by an angel that the night that he is looking for is in the days ahead of him. And he observed also another i'tikaf in the second 10 days, right? The second 10 days he also observed, and he was told that the night that he is searching for is in the last 10 days. And he observed he observed i'tikaf also in what? So meaning, in that particular year, he observed what? I'tikaf for what? For 30 days. Right? Then after that, he was told that the last 10 days, the night of Qadr is what? Can be found in what? In one of the last 10 days. Right? The night of Qadr can be found in the last 10 days. So since then, he used to observe i'tikaf in the last 10 what? In the last 10 days. Right? Because Aisha radiallahu anha said, كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا دخل العشر الأواخر شد معزره وأحيا ليله وأيقظ أهله. When the last 10 days of Ramadan set in, the Prophet ﷺ, he worship Allah alone, and also encourages his family to worship Allah, and also he does not engage in sexual intercourse, right? Because it's permitted to be intimate with your wife at night. So when it's in the last 10 nights, he don't engage in that, and he observes i'tikaf. As she said, اعتكف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم حتى توفاه الله ثم اعتكف أزواجه من بعده. Right, so the Prophet ﷺ used to observe i'tikaf, right? Meaning he would go to the mosque and then stay in the mosque for what?
Yeah, let's go.
So for the last 10 days, he would stay at the mosque worshiping Allah, just to observe that Laylatul Qadr. Okay, so he continued that till he passed on, and then his wife also continued with the i'tikaf. So i'tikaf is part of the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ that we have to also try to emulate. And then also this i'tikaf, it is purposefully for an act of worship. So there are certain things that when a person is observing i'tikaf, he or she don't have to do, right? So Aisha radiallahu anha also mentioned what a person, the mu'takif should observe. She said, من السنة على المعتكف ألا يعود مريضا ولا يشهد جنازة ولا يمس امرأة ولا يباشرها ولا اعتكاف إلا بصوم ولا اعتكاف إلا في مسجد جامع. So she said that the sunnah for a person observing i'tikaf is that he should not visit a sick person, right? Like, when you are in the i'tikaf and you hear someone is sick, you don't say that, there's a lot of reward in visiting the sick. So you leave i'tikaf and then you visit. No. Immediately you enter into i'tikaf, or you start i'tikaf, you can't go out from the mosque. So you are not permitted to visit sick. You are not permitted to observe janazah, right? You are not permitted to observe janazah, and also you are also not permitted to kiss or fondle your wife. You understand? Because you are you are in i'tikaf. As Allah also commanded, He said, وَلَا تُبَاشِرُوهُنَّ وَأَنْتُمْ عَاكِفُونَ فِي الْمَسَاجِدِ, and do not engage in any sexual activity if you are observing i'tikaf. You get it? So you don't have to do all this. And then also anyone observing i'tikaf should be a person who can fast. So meaning, if a woman is in a menses, or she's pregnant, or she's feeding and she's not fasting, she can't observe i'tikaf. You get it? She can't observe i'tikaf. And then you can't also observe i'tikaf without fasting, right? She said, وَلَا i'tikaf إِلَّا بِصَوْمٍ, right? I'tikaf is not valid except with unless with fasting. right? So you fast and observe i'tikaf. Okay. And also you can't. It is not recommended to perform i'tikaf in the masjid that they don't pray Jummah. So you observe i'tikaf in the masjid that they pray Jummah, because you have to going for Jummah prayer is obligatory, right? And you are not permitted to leave the mosque where you are observing i'tikaf to a different mosque. You understand? So it is important you perform you observe your i'tikaf in the mosque that they pray Jummah prayer. You understand? And you can only go out when you want to respond, when you want to visit the toilet. Okay, that's when you can go out. You are permitted to go out. Or if, let's say, you don't have anyone who serves you food, so when you're hungry or something like that, you can also go out to get food. You understand? But it is recommended, it's better if a person, before you start i'tikaf, you arrange all this before you start, so that you don't have to go out. Yeah, so basically that is it. So, and then the i'tikaf, as we said, it's purposefully to get close to Allah. So when one start the i'tikaf, the person should focus on only act of worship, and then stay away from excessive talk and unnecessary gatherings. You get it? All right. So now, is there any question?
My question is, if you are in itikaf and let's say, is there, as you can't go out to visit someone who's sick, or there will not be a way when it comes to serious, let's say your mother or your father, at that moment they need you? Can it be that one?
Yeah, so if it's a kind of emergency, you can leave the i'tikaf. When you leave to go and see them, or your parents call you, then you have to respond. I understand. So you will leave. When immediately you leave the mosque to wherever they are, your i'tikaf has ended. Actually, your i'tikaf has ended, but you will be rewarded for the days that you observed. But if you wish to come back again, you make another intention, then you continue. You understand? But immediately you leave the mosque to respond to the call of your parent, then your i'tikaf has ended. Do you get it? So now, when do you go for i'tikaf and when do you leave i'tikaf? Normally it's 10 days, right? You start from the first day, the 21st day, to the last day. If it's 30 days or 29, till that day, right? So the Prophet ﷺ, according to Aisha, when he want to start his i'tikaf, he enter that place of i'tikaf after Fajr prayer. After Fajr prayer, immediately he enter his mu'takif, where he observed that seclusion. So she said, كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا أراد أن يعتكف صلى الفجر ثم دخل معتكفه. So when the Prophet want to observe i'tikaf, he pray Fajr prayer, then he enter his mu'takif, where he observed that seclusion. Because at that time the Prophet's house is close to that, it's attached to the mosque. So after prayer, after Fajr prayer, he then enter they have tents where they sit to worship. Yeah. But according to the madhab, you enter i'tikaf, or you start i'tikaf a night before the 21st day. Do you get it? So we mentioned that night, according to the Islamic count and according to the Islamic tradition, the night precedes the day, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this night that precedes the day, the night of the 21st is when you go for itikaf. So after Maghrib of the 20, after you've to break the fast of the 20th day, then that evening will be the evening of the 21st day of Ramadan. So after that Maghrib, you go for itikaf if you want to observe it. You get it? And then also, according to some, when it ends to you go for Eid prayer before you leave itikaf. But some are also saying, according to some also opinion in the Mazhab, you leave after Maghrib prayer, when the last day of fasting, after you break the fast, you can leave itikaf. So you can either follow this or this. You understand? So you leave immediately after After breaking the fast on the last day, because that particular night will be the night of Fir Shawwal. Do you get it? Is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Any question? Okay. And also, the author did not mention about Zakat Al-Fitr. Right? Zakat Al-Fitr. So this Zakat Al-Fitr, it's a kind of a type of zakah or charity that the Prophet has made it obligatory upon every Muslim to pay. Every Muslim, young, old, male, female, slave or free, everyone has to pay. Right? So, and then the objective of this charity, this zakah, is that it has been legislated to expiate or to cleanse us from the mistakes that we've committed during Ramadan. So in Ramadan, we have to control our tongue, we have to control our gaze, right? And then we don't have to do many things. So as human, of course, we make mistakes. So when the mistakes that we commit, what we see, the bad things that we see, the bad things that we look, all these things are a mistake that could affect our fasting. Do you get it? So when you pay this zakah, it cleans all these mistakes for us to get the complete reward of our fasting. Do you get it? And then also, now let's look at when do you give, who has to pay the zakah, and when do you pay it, right? So you pay the zakah. You can pay the zakah a day or two before Eid day, right? And you can decide to pay a day or 2 days before Eid, a day before Eid, or that particular morning of Eid, you pay the zakah before the Eid prayer. So when you pay before the Eid prayer, you've paid Zakat Al-Fitr. Okay, but if let's say you delay it or you were not able to pay, right? And then after prayer, you paid. This will not be considered as Zakat Al-Fitr, but it will be considered as Zakah. Sadaqah. It's a charity, you will be rewarded for it, but it will not be considered as Zakat Al-Fitr. Do you get it? And also, so now let's look at who's supposed to pay Zakat Al-Fitr. So, for Zakah, the other Zakah, that one is for the rich. Okay, but this is for everyone. Anyone who has let's say something, or possesses a day meal, something that can sustain the person for a day, right? If you have food that can sustain you and your family, or people that are dependent on you for a day, then paying Zakat Al-Fitr becomes wajib. Do you get it? Let's say that you for your daily sustenance, you need, let's say, 200 cedis for yourself and then those dependent on you, right? So if, let's say, 200 cedis is what you have, only 200 cedis is what you have, then Zakat Al-Fitr is not what? It's not wajib on you. Do you get it? But if you have 200, let's say you have 1,000 or you have 600, then Zakat Al-Fitr is what? It's wajib. Because you have what? You have what will sustain you for a day, and then also what? Excess. So you pay Zakat Al-Fitr from what? From the excess. You understand? So now, you pay Zakat Al-Fitr for yourself and for all dependent on you. Those dependent on you, your wife, your children, you what? You pay Zakat Al-Fitr for them. You understand? Those you are maintaining, those, you are responsible for their feeding. You what? You pay Zakat Al-Fitr for them, for all of them. Do you get it? Okay. So, and now, how do you pay the Zakat Al-Fitr? Zakat Al-Fitr is what? Is sa'a, right? It's a sa'a. Sa'a is 6 handful of 16 handful of what? Of whatever you are giving zakat. The sa'a is 4 mut, and we said the mut is what? 4 handful. You understand? So 16 of it will give you 1 sa'a, and it's close to what? 3 kilograms. You understand? And then you have to pay from what? From the common food that people eat in that country or in that region. You understand? Rice or oats or wheat or maize or but when giving, we have to what? We have to be considerate. Okay, because when you give a person a rice, only rice, 3 kilos of rice. You understand? So it's if you can afford to add something that the person will use in preparing whatever you're giving the person is what is better. You get it? So this is the reason why some said, okay, even though the Prophet did not pay this Zakat Fitr in cash, but looking at people's situation today, when you give them cash, it's what? It helps them more than what? Giving them a raw food. You get it? Because let's say that in a community where 150, it's habitates 150 people, and then let's say 130 are giving Zakat Al-Fitr to these 20 people, and then all of them are giving them food. So where will they get the money to what? To prepare this food that they were giving? You understand? To some extent, that some will go out and sell this food that they were giving to get cash, to be able to spend on what they need to prepare the food. You understand? So if some give food and then some give cash, it's what? It's better. You understand? Than all of us giving them 3 kilos of what? Of these staple foods. Is it clear? So, is there any question?
Yeah, my question is it anybody you can give the zakat?
No. It's so we said that a person who possesses what can sustain him for a day, it's what? It's wajib for the person to give, right? So a person who don't have nothing, who don't have something, who don't have what will sustain him for a day, is what? Is eligible to what? To take the Zakat Al-Fitr. But if a person has what will sustain him and then those dependent on him for a day, then it's not what? It's not permissible for the person to what? To take Zakat Al-Fitr. Do you get it? Is it clear?
No. And it can be anybody at all. It doesn't matter the religion or...
No. He has to. So purposefully is for Muslims. Yeah. So this, one of the objectives is to prevent the needy from begging on that day, because it's a Eid day and everyone has to be happy, everyone has to be cheerful on that day. You understand? So when you give them, you feed them before the Eid prayer, what happens? They will not have any reason to beg anymore. You get it. So this is the objective. But nowadays, you give people everything, but they're still what?
Yeah.
They're still begging. Right. I hope it's clear.
No.
Any question? Okay, so let's end it here. وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله.